Hello and welcome to the Dynata Solutions training series. This is the first in the Cmix training videos, during which my colleague Roger and I will introduce you to the Cmix Survey Authoring platform. Since you may or may not already be familiar with Cmix, we'll start with a brief introduction into what the platform is for and what you can do with it to improve your surveys. Then, we will proceed with an introduction of how to get started authoring surveys in Cmix. In later videos within this series, we will show you how to build robust surveys with varying question types, how to localize those surveys for data collection in various markets and regions, and then how to test those surveys prior to launching them into field, then working with the data once it has been collected. So what is Cmix? Fundamentally, it is a survey authoring platform. That means it is a software tool that allows you to construct your own surveys. It is a component of the Dynata Insights platform, which means that it gives you not only the ability to construct surveys, but it is seamlessly integrated with other Dynata solutions, including Samplify, which gives you access to Dynata's industry-leading 62 million consumers who then can take the surveys that you have authored within Cmix. It is also seamlessly integrated with Dynata's analytical solution MarketSite, which allows you to analyze the data that is collected utilizing Cmix and visualize that data and report it to your audiences. Fundamentally utilizing Cmix, you can build and edit your surveys, work with your teams to construct, review, and refine those surveys, launch those surveys into field and deliver them to your respondents so that you can then manage the field work of your data collection, and then subsequently analyze the results from your research projects. While Cmix is inherently a do-it-yourself platform, it also can be leveraged working together with Dynata, where you can rely upon Dynata's expert staff to work with you to design your surveys to your specifications in order to save you time and effort. So with that, let me turn it over to my colleague Roger, who is going to walk you through how to get started with the Cmix platform, starting with logging into the platform.
In this session, we're going to discuss Cmix. Cmix is the survey authoring and field management system provided to you by Dynata. There are a couple of different ways to log into that system. The first is to go to cmix.com. You'll see this particular screen, and you'll be able to log in with your login credentials, which are your email and your password. And once you hit sign in, you'll be sent to the Cmix Launchpad, also called the project list. You might also have access to the Dynata Insights platform. To get there, if you go to dynata.com, on the far right there's a login option which says Insights Platform. Once you click there, you'll be sent to this login screen. Once you sign in and click Login, you will be sent directly into the Insights platform, where you'll have access to 4 of the main solutions provided to you by Dynata using one single sign-on. The first is scripting with Cmix, which is the tool that we're talking about now. Then you also have sampling, reporting and analytics, as well as instant insights. When you click on scripting with Cmix, you will be sent to the project list, also called the Cmix Launchpad. So ultimately, you will end up on this screen. That's a general overview of Cmix, as well as the login options to be able to access that particular solution provided to you by Dynata. In this session, we'll be covering the Cmix Survey Launchpad, also called the project list. This is the list of all the projects in which you have access to because you either programmed it yourself or a colleague has granted you access to it. You'll see that the list has a number of headers in which you can sort. The first column is date, next is project name, CX number, programmer, totals for today regarding traffic, and also completes, starts, and terms, all related to traffic. You also have the option to sort by survey status. Towards the top, you can see there is a search mechanism. You can search by project name, programmer, CX number, or project token. You also have some filters. The first filter is tied to the survey status. This will allow you to select a specific one and only have those appear. Next is a date filter. We have some predetermined options as well as a custom range option. And then you will also have the ability to check off the My Projects checkbox. This will only display the projects in which you are the primary or secondary programmer. The last filter is the favorites. If you check off this box, only the options that are available here that you have selected as a favorite will appear. To make a survey a favorite, on the far right hand side in the actions column, you'll see a star. A filled in star means you have indicated this is a favorite, and one that's not filled in is not a favorite. Common use cases for something like this would be if you have a survey that you're going to use as a template that you'd like to clone over and over again, or if it's a survey in which there was something custom that you've built once or somebody else has and you've been granted access and you want to be able to refer back to it. This is a good use case for that particular feature. You'll also see within the project list itself that the project names are hyperlinks. These will take you directly to the Manage and Monitor portion of the survey dashboard. We'll go into that into a later session. You also have the ability to click on the menu to the left of the project name. These are shortcuts that will take you directly to a specific area within that specific project. So this way you can mitigate the number of clicks in which you use to try to get to a specific location. You'll see this menu again in a different session. This has been a tour of the Survey Launchpad, also called the project list. In this session, we're going to discuss the navigation of the survey dashboard. I'm currently on the Cmix Launchpad, also called the project list. This is a list of all the projects that I have access to. If I wanted to go to the survey dashboard for any one of them, I can just click on the project name and I will go directly to the Manage and Monitor tab of this particular project. Here I have a project timeline, some fielding stats, and access and permissions. You'll see the menu on the left-hand side is identical to the one that you saw on the Cmix Launchpad, right next to the project name. It's just oriented vertically in order to save some room. It's broken up into 4 distinct areas: programming, fielding, data and reporting, and admin. We'll go into separate sessions for each one of these particular areas, but I'll just give you a brief overview. Build and edit will open up the survey authoring tool. This is where you'd actually program your survey. The markup editor is an XML format of the survey, in which you can program outside of the UI and just use an XML-based format to program. Preview and test is just a link to test your survey with some testing tools to be able to QA it. Tasks is an interactive way to collaborate with your colleagues on a particular project. It's a handy one that most other survey authoring tools do not have. And once you see that particular session, I believe you'll enjoy that very much. The review outline is a one-page scrolling document of everything you've programmed, including your questions, question settings, logic, quotas. Pretty much anything that you've programmed on your survey will appear here in a one-page scrolling document, which is searchable. Validate data is the area in which you would go for things such as generating test data, reviewing test data. You can also use that to review live data as well, but it'll give you basic counts and percents. That way you'll be able to verify things like skip patterns, filtering, and that sort of thing. Fielding gives you a link to all of your survey links here. This would be if you had multiple sample sources and or combinations of multiple languages. This would give you a link for each individual one, and you'd have access to all of them in one place. Any quotas you might have set up is the next one. Fielding stats just gives you some basic statistics on your project. Terms and dropouts will give you that exact thing. It'll give you a table with all of your terminations and your abandons. This is always going to be sorted in descending order, so you'll know exactly what the highest items are by default. In the data and reporting section, you'll have a link to interactive reporting. This will sync your data from Cmix into MarketSite. That tool is very, very robust and will be able to give you the ability to create crosstabs, dashboards, PowerPoint exports that you can use for deliverables to your end client, and so forth. Inspect and edit records will give you the ability to search and review answers for any given individual respondent. Bulk update will give you the ability to recode data as necessary. Export files is where you would go to be able to download data and or any other type of export file functions and features that we have available. And then admin also gives you an activity log, which will log the majority of the items that happen throughout your project lifecycle. Towards the top, you'll see that your survey name or project name appears. If, for instance, I am looking for another project, or maybe I clicked on this project by accident, I can just click on this drop down and I can search for another project that I have access to without having to go back to the project list. Just really a shortcut to be able to let you navigate around a lot quicker. You'll also notice right next to the project name, there's a little gear icon. And in this particular case, it's flagged as being in design. If I click on this project settings gear icon, this is where you can change your survey status. So let's say I want to change from design to test, test to live, live to closed, or any combination back and forth. I can do so and click on save. You also do have the ability to download the project fielding stats from this location as well. And that has been a review of the navigation for the survey dashboard. In this session, we're going to discuss the knowledge base. To access the knowledge base, on the far right on the top, you'll see a question mark button. Click on that button, and this will bring up a link to our knowledge base. You'll have a number of articles that will come up by default, as they are the most commonly searched for items. You also can use our search mechanism at the bottom, but we do try to ask people to use smaller keywords or phrases as to be able to find your information quicker. If you try to get too specific, such as typing in a full sentence, that might narrow it down way too much, and you might not be able to bring up any articles tied to what you're looking for. So a couple of keywords or phrases will help you in this regard. Let's say I want to learn about cloning a survey. I'm going to type in the word cloning, and I can either click on the enter button on my keyboard or click on the magnifying glass to search. You can see a number of articles appear. Cloning a survey is the very top one, so I'll just click on that. And this will open up the particular article in this right-hand panel. And I can scroll through or read through any of the information. If the images might be too small or anything of that nature, you can always click on the title of the article, and this will open up this particular article in a brand new tab so that you'll be able to scroll through or zoom in as necessary, or just to have something open while you are trying to actively perform whatever task it is. So I can also come back to the Launchpad in this particular case and click on the X to close out this article. Maybe I still don't find what I'm looking for. I can click on the Ask feature on the top right. In here you'll see a drop down relating to the specific product in which you were trying to get your question or answer or resolution to. In this particular case, I'm going to select Cmix, and I'll click on Next. Here you'll have the option to type in a subject and a body, and then click on Send a Message. This will send a message to our customer success team, and we try to get back to you as soon as we can with any questions or follow-up questions or even answers to your particular question that you have asked to us. We might even send you a link to a knowledge base article that maybe didn't come up for you as well. If I want to close out of this knowledge base beacon altogether, I can either A, click on the question mark up at the top, or if I click on it again, it'll appear. I can just click away anywhere else and it'll disappear. But it's available to you at any time. And if you'd like to, you can always use the back button. There is a back button if you do need to go back to any certain particular area, but you can also click on the answers and ask at any time as well. And that covers the link to our knowledge base. In this session, we're going to discuss how to create a new survey from scratch. I'm currently displaying the Cmix Launchpad, also called the project list. Depending on your permissions, if you have the ability to create surveys, you will see the Add Survey button on the top right. By clicking on this button, the following screen will appear. You'll be able to name your project. You can click on the Show Additional Options button, but this is not required at this point. If I do click on it, this will give you the ability to grant permission to specific users or groups. In this particular case, I don't have any available because none exist. You do not have to do this at this particular time, as you'll still be able to grant permissions to this project in a variety of other ways. There are two system template options. One is a blank template, which is the default. This will allow you to go into this brand new project and start programming from scratch using the UI. You also have the option to start from a definition file. This file will allow you to use our survey markup editor to be able to create your survey. I'll continue with the blank template and hit create. Once I've created the project, I will be sent directly to the survey dashboard for this project. And by default, you land on the Manage and Monitor page. This is how you create a brand new survey from scratch. In this session, we're going to describe how to clone a survey. There are multiple reasons why you'd want to do something like this. The first reason would be something like having a default look and feel or a theme, maybe a branded logo. You can have a survey that already has that set up, already just waiting for you to use, and you can clone that survey every time to have the look and feel already prepared without having to make any changes. Another reason would be if you have a screener that's very similar or even identical that's going to be used throughout all of your projects or even a subset of your projects, you can have a survey that just has the screener already programmed, and then you can use that to clone and add any additional questions as you see fit, or even modify the existing ones from the template to fit the particular use case. In this regard, you can also do the same thing with a templated survey that just has demos. So if you have a demographic battery, which is usually towards the end of your survey, you can have that already pre-programmed in a template if that's going to be used all the time. You can go in, find it on your project list, clone it, and then make that available within your carbon copy. Then you can add your questions as you see fit or make modifications. You can also have a battery that might be a specialized exercise or a series of questions that might appear within the main questionnaire of your survey. You're not limited to having the battery be at the beginning or the end. It can be in the middle as well. You can have a section that has all these predefined exercises that have already been built. Maybe there's logic surrounding them. Maybe it's a complex algorithm. It could be any sort of scenario in which you need to just make a copy and not want to recreate the wheel because you have all of your questions, all of your variables, all of your logic already set up and in place. As you can see here, I am currently on the Cmix Launchpad, also called the project list. So these are all the surveys I have access to. What I can do is find the one that I want to clone. So let's say that's sample survey 2. So if I know this is the one that I want to start from as base, I can just move my cursor over to the far right into the actions column, and you'll see 3 dots stacked on top of each other, sometimes called a vertical ellipsis, If I click on that button, there's only one option. It's to clone the survey. So if I click on this button, you can see that it is telling me that I am cloning sample survey 2, just a confirmation, and then I can name it whatever I want to in this particular case. So let's say I want to label this survey 5. I'll hit clone, and once that process is completed, I will be sent directly into the survey dashboard, specifically the Manage and Monitor section, which is the default landing page within your survey dashboard. Now this is a carbon copy of that initial program that I wanted to clone. Now I can go into the Build and Edit tool and make any sort of changes that I need, renumber, move things around, add logic, add questions, add sections, pretty much anything I want to do because I already have the other questions there built in as a base, or if I just have the theme already built into, or any combination of those items that I mentioned earlier. And that's how you clone a survey. So just to review, in this series, we discussed Cmix in general, and give you a high-level overview of what the system can do. We also showed you how to log into the system, and gave you some basic navigation of both the Cmix Launchpad, or the project list, as well as the survey dashboard. We also showed you how to utilize the knowledge base to be able to get further information on a self-service basis, or be able to ask questions of our customer success team.
Thank you for that introduction, Roger. At this point, you should hopefully be prepared to dive into the Cmix platform and start actually programming your surveys in the tool. In our next session in the Dynata training series, we will actually show you how to do that. We hope that you will join us, and in the meantime, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Dynata Customer Success team by emailing us at customersuccess@dynata.com.